say it ain't snow, but it is. How this morning's winter weather could impact the start of your day.
Plus, the verdict watched around the world, how local advocates and law experts are responding to the outcome in the Derek Chauvin trial.
Good morning to all of you, and boys, it's going to be a hump day. It is a snowy Wednesday morning. I'm Danita Harris.
I'm Mike Brookbank. Nice to see you. Our Good Morning Cleveland team has been monitoring conditions throughout Northeast Ohio to get you ready for the start of this day, spring day. And let's start things off with Power 5 meteorologist Trent McGill.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And you say spring day. This is a very spring-like snow. It's such a heavy weight. It's a slushy snow. It looks nice in that video you're seeing right there, but you got to brush it off the cars before you head out on the streets today, and a lot of the roads are going to be slick. Some spots getting it worse than others with some of the heaviest snow, the heaviest weight, the slushiest snow. Check it out. Right now you're seeing some of those darker colors pushing across that 77 corridor and crossing out of Tuscarawas County, out of Stark County. This line right there, you've got a little bit of it's higher moisture content, so it's a little bit of a wetter snow with that, so it weighs down on things. As a matter of fact, as this tries to shut down and out of here, I still expect quite a bit of slush on the roads. Plus, there's some more coming in on the backside. So this is going to be a pretty active Wednesday, that is for sure. Now, check this out. Talking about the moisture content, the heaviness of it, Amy McClanahan, this is in Shelby, Ohio. This is a tree that's crossing her driveway. Just came down about an hour ago. So you're starting to get some leaves back on the trees. Remind you of what we have in fall before the leaves fall off the trees. Those early season snows, they bring down those trees and potentially cause some power outages. So you got to be careful with this. We'll keep snow in the forecast, not completely all day, but it'll come in bursts through the day. Temperatures stay on the cold side, so snow with a little bit of a mix likely. That means we got to keep it cold, wind chills in the 20s, keep it gusty, and those roads are going to stay relatively slick through the day. We'll map it all out for you, and guys, we'll talk about 70s again coming up.
Well, our Good Morning Cleveland team is keeping an eye on the roads and conditions throughout Northeast Ohio.
Tanisha Cordell is in Beechwood for us, and Tanisha, we'll get to you in just a minute there. We're going to make you wait a little longer, but first, let's get to John Rutter first with a look at the roads. Poor Tanisha.
Yeah, it does not look pleasant out there, Mike, not at all. Trent said it best, though, heavy and wet snow, because when I was brushing my car off this morning, yeah, thick, good snowball making snow, but could definitely cause some issues out there on your roads. Got Storm Tracker 5 out on the roads for us this morning, driving around, keeping an eye on conditions. Now, depending on where you are in the viewing area, your conditions might vary. Looks like where this is right now, the main lanes not looking too bad, but that shoulder, so any exit ramps or entrance ramps might get a little slippery and be some snow covered as you're getting on or off any highways. And you can also see maybe that snow sticking a little bit more on your surface streets out there. Anytime we got some snow like this, it usually creates some problems on your roads, and I do have an accident to talk about. We are going to have a crash 480 westbound near West 130th Street. You can also see plenty of yellow out there on our map as well. So definitely traffic going below the speed limit. We'll keep an eye on if we see any more accidents or slowdowns out there. But Tanisha Cordell also out with us. And Tanisha, I think you drew the short stick this morning. It looks like you're having a little bit of a rough morning with the snow out there.
Yeah, to say the least, John, all right? This is not cute. Ain't no way to be cute out here, all right? It just is what it is. It's cold. The wind is coming in. These flurries are coming. It feels like rain. Is what it feels like, all right? Okay, but this is just not impacting only, the roads, as John mentioned. I mean, clearly parking lots are going to have to be cleared out. The roads, again, coming in was horrible. I think I was going about 40 miles per hour, if that, on a 60-mile, miles per hour highway. But again, this isn't just impacting those roads in your early morning commutes. You have businesses who are concerned about this as well. We spoke to a local winery, Ferranti, out in Geneva. Their team says they have a lot at stake and are facing consequences of the warmer weather we got earlier this month. The snow isn't, such a big concern for them, but a lot of their Chardonnay grapes, could freeze, something they've been prepping for since yesterday.
We have wind machines that we've tested this morning. They're all up and running. So they run on propane, and if we think there's stillness in the air and we can move the air around, which can make a couple degree difference change, that saves the grapes from freezing.
All right, now Ferranti sits in that Grand River Valley region, so it looks like, and we're told, it's impacted by that microclimate from Lake Erie, and that could help with a little protection, but still a lot of concern for them going forward. They're going to keep their eye on it, and clearly I'm going to try and stay warm and, I don't know, try to see. I can't see anything out here.
Oh, man.
Look, again, the short stick this morning.
Listen, Linda, listen. I feel your pain. Took me too long to get in today. So, but you look cute with your earmuffs.
She does look cute.
You look cute. So, you're cold, but you're cute. All right. Thank you very much, Tanisha.
Cold but cute.
Cold but cute. News 5 is helping you stay on top of the weather and know where it's heading next. So download the News 5 app to use our interactive radar. You'll see hourly forecasts and get the latest alerts and advisory all at your fingertips.
Time now 5:05. Right now, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is investigating the death of a 15-year-old girl shot and killed by a Columbus police officer. Police say the officer shot her while responding to a call for an attempted stabbing. Body cam video appears to show the 15-year-old swinging what police say is a knife at another female before the officer fires his weapon.
It's a tragic day in the city of Columbus. Horrible, heartbreaking situation. But a family's grieving tonight, and this young 15-year-old girl will never be coming home.
After the fatal shooting, protesters marched through the streets of Columbus. When BCI's criminal investigation finishes, the Division of Police will conduct an administrative review of the officers' actions and all officers who were on the scene. So many people around the country stopped what they were doing yesterday to watch Derek Chauvin receive a guilty verdict on all charges in the death of George Floyd.
And advocates and law experts in Northeast Ohio are speaking out about what this conviction means. Meg Shaw joins us live with more. Good morning, Meg.
Hey, good morning to you, Danita and Mike. During the reading of the verdict, the judge thanked the jury for their work and called it heavy work. And indeed it was. As Mike said, people across the country and really around the world stopped what they were doing to watch this historic case. And though the verdict was handed down, a local attorney tells us there is more work to be done.
It's a date and time millions of people will never forget. Tuesday, April 20th at 5 p.m., a judge announced that a jury had found former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty in the death of George Floyd.
We hope that it sparks reform. We hope that it sparks change.
Local attorneys Marcus Sidoti and Sarah Gelsomina tell us so often their clients crave accountability, but rarely that happens. Now they believe this case can give people hope.
And so often we don't see criminal charges. Police aren't even indicted, let alone brought to a jury. So I think there is a certain sigh of relief that this can happen on especially in a national scale.
Gelsomina says while she believes it is an outlier case, there's still more work to be done.
If we collectively as a community, if our prosecutors and our police departments and our leadership in policing don't take this seriously and really make a real commitment to change, then this won't be the last person who has been killed, and it won't be the last time that our community has to stand up like this.
For Case Western Reserve University law professor Dr. Aisha Bell Hardaway.
The first thing that I'm going to teach is how masterfully the prosecution created themes for their case.
She says this case will be discussed and taught inside her classroom, encouraging students to dig below the surface.
So if this had not been pushed by community, this could have just as easily been something that was swept under the rug and that would gaslight community into trying to make them feel as if what they know happens on the streets of their cities is somehow either their fault or a figment of their imagination.
All right, so next steps, of course, in this case is sentencing. The judge said yesterday that will happen 8 weeks from now. Now, Chauvin could face up to 40 years in prison for that second-degree murder charge. However, Minnesota sentencing guidelines suggest that he'll likely get somewhere between 12 and a half to 15 years. We're going to stay on top of this developing story and bring you more in just 10 minutes. Reporting live, I'm Meg Shaw, News 5.
Meg, thank you. This morning, the Wolstein Center is going to reopen and resume vaccinations. The mass vaccination clinic had been closed for the evening due to the Derek Chauvin verdict being read. The Ohio National Guard shared on social media that those impacted will be contacted to reschedule.
And the vaccination clinic at the Richland County Fairgrounds will be closed today and tomorrow because of the winter weather. So if you had an appointment scheduled at the fairgrounds for these times, you will be contacted by Richland Public Health. Let's get back to the weather. It is snowy, it is slushy, it is slicky out there.
Slicky. It is definitely slicky as you head out the door. Very, very slushy. I mean, streets. It's just such a wet snow that it's going to splash up on cars and behind you, from cars in front of you, so be careful. This is what we're looking at. You see most of this action, the movement of this is from west to east, different from what we're seeing back here. This is actually a little bit of a northern flow from the north, and that's going to swing on through here as well. So we're not done with the snow yet by any means. Even though it is trying to dry out of here, it's going to take a little bit. That's why these winter weather advisories go until 10 o'clock. I know you're seeing the freeze warning on the bottom of the screen there. Everybody, I know it's not issued for us yet. Doesn't matter. Still going to get cold, maybe even 20s by this time tomorrow morning. Just give yourself plenty of extra time and get ready for the cold. Facebook comment here. Patrick Noble posted 3 inches on the grass, 1 to 1.5 on the pavement. And that's the trend we're seeing, guys.
Gross. Okay, coming up, vaccine off pause, when we might find out if the Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be available again.
And several Subaru models need to make a trip to the dealership. We've got a few recalls to warn you about. Stay with us right here in Good Morning Cleveland. Time now is 5:13 as we take a live look outside in Beechwood. The snow is starting to drag down trees in the area there. Also out in Lake County. We also know this could be a problem for power lines. We have several thousand outages happening right now. Tanisha Gordell is checking on those, and we'll have an update later in this broadcast. Vaccine advisors to the CDC are expected to recommend the Johnson & Johnson vaccine be administered again under restrictions. It's expected that the advisory panel will have specific recommendations on Friday about which people may be best suited to take the single-dose vaccine. Researchers think, based on a risk-benefit analysis, the J&J vaccine should be returned to use in the U.S. Distribution was put on pause after blood clots appeared in a handful of women and at least one man who received it. Regulators in Europe are announcing new guidance for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The European Medicines Agency is now suggesting the vaccine come with a warning label after they say it found a possible link between the vaccine and extremely rare blood clots. Scientists at the agency maintain the benefits of the vaccine still outweigh the risk. Europe halted the rollout of the J&J vaccine shortly after the United States recommended a pause.
Your time now, 5:15. You might have to pay more for Pampers, Loves, and Always products this fall. Procter & Gamble says it is raising prices on those items because raw materials are getting more expensive. The company says it's going to charge retailers like Walmart, Target, and Costco roughly 5 to 9% more. Stores can then decide whether to pass that on to consumers.
If you have a Subaru, here's a consumer alert for you. Pay attention, drivers. The company is recalling thousands of cars and SUVs due to several issues. The recall affects the Crosstrek, made in 2018 and 2019, the Impreza, made from 2017 to 2019, and 2019 Foresters. Subaru says a technical issue can cause the car to short circuit even after it's shut off. In the Forester, some bolts can come off the suspension and cause a crash. Dealers will start repairs in May.
Well, we know the Wright brothers made history for their first flight, but now the National Memorial honoring them in North Carolina is making history of its own. An autonomous or self-driving shuttle named Cassie will be taking visitors around the park. The National Park Service and North Carolina Department of Transportation partnered for the project. Cassie is scheduled to operate at the park for the next 3 months as part of a trial. All right, let's give you a live look at driving conditions right now. This is Storm Tracker 5 out in Westlake, and we can see the roads there look wet, relatively clear. But Trent, there could be some slick spots where that snow or those squalls will start persisting.
You know, I just tweeted out a circle essentially around where he's driving and said that brake right there is going to help out a ton, an absolute ton. Still have some slush around the area, but here we go. He's on Crocker, essentially heading from Westlake to North Olmsted. So, well, there, and you're in this huge break in here. So That is great news if you're in this break. This break slowly slides from west to east. The problem is it's a brief break in the snow. Check this out. There's more on the back side of it, and it's all eventually going to fill right back in. If the farther south you are, if you're getting in this break as well, you may have a little bit of a longer break before it tries to roll through there. While I'm talking about this break, if you live from Cleveland to Medina and east, Cleveland to Medina down to about Orville and east, that's where that snow is, and that's where we're seeing some pretty rough roads. So make sure you're extremely careful, giving yourself some extra time because we're going to need it. As you're planning your day today, just know that I've got more snow in the forecast, more bursts of snow. It's not going to be a completely snow-filled day, but it's going to be a cold and gusty, and at times you're going to have those bursts of snow. So at times you're going to have those slick streets. The ground is still super warm, so grass, yes, it piles up, but those roads, blacktop, parking lots, sidewalks even, it'll melt as soon as that snow's done falling. So with those bursts, I think that really saves, honestly, I think it saves our evening drive. It's not going to look anything like our morning drive for most of us. That being said, if you get a burst of snow on your drive home, it's going to be slick. 32 outside right now. We're going to hold the 30s right now near freezing through the rest of the morning and then jump up to about 38 for a high today. It's that northeast wind though. Wind chills in the 20s now. That wind is keeping us in the 20s for wind chills all day long. Wide look, this is it. The main batch pulling out, but I've got some snow pulling out right here, and I've got some more upstream, and it's all going to circle right on through here. So those are our bursts of snow we're going to be dealing with for the next, realistically, 24 hours. We don't completely dry it out until probably sunrise tomorrow morning. And that's what our futurecast is showing. I've got numbers slowly warming up. I've got these quick little bursts of snow. Tribes in town, 6 o'clock first pitch, 6:10 first pitch. Probably going to have to dodge a couple snowflakes or raindrops for it. And then tomorrow, guys, we can dry it out. And then Friday, we can warm it up. I'll show you that coming up.
It is 5:19, and we turn now to the verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial as we have a live look at George Floyd Plaza in Minneapolis. The former Minneapolis police officer found guilty on all 3 charges.
The verdict drew shouts of surprise and relief outside the courtroom and across the country. ABC's Ike Jachi has the latest from Minneapolis.
Overnight, celebrations and even some fireworks in Minneapolis. After 10.5 hours of deliberation,
members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts.
Judge Peter Cahill announcing the fate of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Chauvin convicted of all 3 counts: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. The jury of 7 women and 5 men, which included 6 people of color, stayed late Monday night and came in early Wednesday, working swiftly without sending a single question during their 10.5 hours of deliberations. The former officer, silent and stoic as the verdict was read, eventually led away in handcuffs and taken back into custody. At George Floyd Square, near where he was murdered, the crowd erupting in cheers, and in Houston, Floyd's family members, including his older brother, watching as the verdict was read.
Today, we are able to breathe again. Just because you are the law, you're not above the law.
Convicted, guilty on all counts, George Floyd mattered. Headlines from some of the nation's top newspapers this morning. Even President Biden sharing a solemn moment with the family, saying the verdict is a step in the right direction, but more needs to be done.
In order to deliver real change and reform, we can and we must do more to reduce the likelihood that tragedies like this will ever happen and occur again.
Overnight, Democrats renewing their push for Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that would ban chokeholds and no-knock warrants, among other measures.
Now, despite the renewed energy for legislation, the bill faces an uphill battle on Capitol Hill. It'll need the support of all Democrats plus 10 Republicans. Ike Jachi, ABC News, Minneapolis.
Coming up next on Good Morning Cleveland, one major restaurant chain is hiring for thousands of positions across the country today. We'll tell you how you can land a job with them. Keep it right here on Good Morning Cleveland, 5:21 on your Wednesday morning. We'll be right back. It is 5:23. Another annual Cleveland event is making its return next month, but it's going to look a little different. The Cleveland Asian Festival will be going virtual. The event celebrates Asian Pacific American Heritage Month every May. It will feature performances, good food, and other traditions. The festival is taking place May 22nd, starting at 10:30 in the morning.
Starting today, you can take a virtual tour of different parts of the NASA Glenn Research Center. A NASA expert's going to take you on a guided tour and have a live question and answer session afterward. You'll be able to check out everything from the supersonic wind tunnel to the zero gravity research facility. The tours will take place every month starting today through October. Sign me up.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
You've got to do that.